Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast.
From 49ers practice squad to Super Bowl stud, all in 1 year. Veteran wide receiver Chris Conley, who's well-journeyed throughout the NFL, comes in number 55 on our roster countdown for 2024. And, it's weird because Conley was so – we'll detail what he did in the Super Bowl, 5 of his plays that were just gigantic. But it seems like this dude earned a spot. You know what I mean? And then the Niners keep all their wide receivers, which is great news. They go out and spend a first-round pick on Ricky Pearsall, fourth-round pick on Cowing. But still, Chris Conley's here. And you got Danny Gray and you got Ronnie Bell, the young pups that are kind of waiting in the wings. Like, the 49ers have turned from great starter wide receivers, no depth, to, man, great starter wide receivers, good veteran depth, amazing young draft pick, rookie, sophomore wide receiver. They got it all. You want top-end stars, you want vets, you want high draft picks. Yes. They got it all. Now, Chris Conley, I want to say thank you to Josh, producer of today's episode. Chris Conley was 64 last year, comes in 55. Now, why the jump? I just think the 49ers trust this guy way too much. He can play all 3 wide receiver spots. He's 31 years old, going into his 10th NFL season. And the one thing about him that stands out, athleticism off the freaking charts. This dude, his comp at the combine is Calvin Johnson, Donovan Peoples-Jones. Like, you're talking freak athletic specimens. Dude broke the record for the highest vertical ever. At the combine, 45-inch vertical. And, I mean, he's a freak. So, you look at his jersey numbers. Last year, he had 2 of them, 17 and 84. This year, he's 18. He took Debo's old number, right? 6'3", 205. We don't have anybody else built like him in our wide receiver room. Not one. 33 and 3/4-inch arms. Those are offensive He has longer arms than Colton McKivitz, our right tackle. He's 31 years old. A 4.35 40-yard dash, 7.063 cone, 45-inch vertical, like I said, combine record, 11.7 broad jump, that's top 99 percentile, 18 bench press reps. This dude is an athletic specimen, and whenever you see him, which, I had the opportunity to be kind of close up, on the sidelines last year, dude's still jacked. He is in shape. There's no doubt about it. Now, you go back to just the journey that he has had, which, he was drafted by Andy Reid. He's been in the NFL for 10 years and a lot of different teams. He's a North Paulding, Dallas, Georgia guy. Used to live up around those parts. Journalism major, 3-star recruit, went to Georgia, was with the Bulldogs. Military kid. His dad was in the United States Air Force. Mother was a teacher. And in fact, he was born on an Air Force base in Adana, Turkey. So you've got the discipline, you've got the education aspect, all those things. Family very, very religious. He was actually named Christian at birth. Fun story that we found. Shout out to Josh here. He won a science fair in elementary school, and the prize was $5,000 and a family trip to Chicago to meet Bob Villa. Talk about a blast from the past. Where my home improvement fans at? His personality's impressive, big-time superhero guy. And even whenever he was in Georgia, at the University of Georgia, directed, starred, and created a Star Wars fan film called Retribution. So, man of many talents. That's all I got to say. He's part of the Southeastern Conference and NCAA student advisory committees. He's done a lot of stuff. Now, bounced around the league a lot, no doubt about that. You just look at the teams that he's been with. He was drafted in the 3rd round by Andy Reid and the Chiefs in 2015, then went to the Jaguars, went to Houston, went back to Kansas City, went to the Titans. Now he's with the Niners, so he's been all over the place. Now, the things that the 49ers like about him, he's a veteran, and a room full of relatively young wide receivers. I don't consider Debo young anymore. I don't consider Ayuk young anymore, but he's been in the league twice as long as they have. So it's different. You had guys like Willie Snead around in the past. He's gone. This is the old hat in the room. You've got your stars, and now you got your young pups, but he's the veteran guy that you could trust. Played a huge role, not only on the practice squad last year, but just look at what he did in the Super Bowl. Debo gets hurt, his hamstring in the first quarter. Chris Conley comes in at wide receiver, and I remember this play vividly. He ran a corner route to the left side. On this play, we had Elijah Mitchell in, we had Chris Conley in, we had Ray McLeod in. Like, all of our stud, quote-unquote, playmakers were out. Dude catches an 18-yard corner route. Perfect pass from Brock Purdy at such a big moment because we lost Greenlaw, then Debo goes down, and then boom, right here. Huge play. Not only that, he made 3 gigantic plays on special teams. He had the down punt inside the 3-yard line. He had a tackle on Richie James at the 10-yard line off of a punt, and then he clotheslined Richie James later in the fourth quarter at the 14-yard line. Huge plays. You look at what he was the second highest score from PFF in the Super Bowl. Limited snaps, I understand that, but still, he made big plays when he got the opportunity, and that's huge. Now, if we back up and we look at what Chris Conley did for the whole entire season, 110 offensive snaps, that's 22%, 76 special team snaps, all right, not bad. He's done good whenever he's given the opportunity, and he's one of the few wide receivers that they let play everywhere. He's played the Ayuk role, X. He's played the Debo role, Z, and he can do slot stuff. So that's one of the things that is different, because with Pearsall and Cowing and Ronnie Bell, are they going to trust those guys to play multiple spots? The versatility that Chris Conley brings, the trust, that's so key when we're talking about Chris Conley. The coaching staff trust him. You know what you're going to get with him. Now, look at his PFF grades. Not the best. 60.6 overall last year, not great. 57.6 receiving, not great. 69 score, special teams, nice, great one. Had an 87.1 PFF grade in the Super Bowl. That's huge. And then you look at the run blocking. 84.2 grade. The highest grade all year for all wide receivers on the 49ers. That's better than Juwan Jennings. It's actually better than George Kittle. This guy does what you want. Do you get the elite playmaking ability? Has the athleticism dipped a little bit? Sure, but he's a beast. He does what you want to do. Is he an all-star? Should he start? No. But if you get an injury, which Ayuk's missed time, Jennings has missed time, Debo's missed time, I trust this guy much more so than a lot of the wide receivers that are back behind him. Now, obviously, Ricky Pearsall is different. Jacob Cowing, we'll see. He didn't even get a practice in OTAs or minicamp, but pictures did come out. He's practicing with Debo and Pearsall and a couple other people out there now, so that's good news. But we'll see. There's value to be had with somebody you trust and has already shown he could do it in big-time moments. Special teams alone. Dude made 3 key special teams plays in the Super Bowl. Now, he was drafted in the 3rd round, pick 76, in 2015 by the Kansas City Chiefs. 3 picks after Tevin Coleman. 3 spots before Eli Harold. How cool is that? And Tyler Lockett went 8 spots ahead of him. That's a fun one. Just the next pick that the 49ers did, Eli Harold, then Chris Conley, then DeAndre Smelter. You remember him? 49ers drafted him in the 4th round that year. Stephon Diggs went in the 5th round. It's just fun to look back at these old drafts and see where all these people went and the connections. I really, really like that. Now, as a career, 220 career receptions, just under 3,000 total yards, 15 touchdowns, 13.3 yards per catch. He's still a field stretcher. The speed, athleticism, size, vertical, that's still there. It might not be a 4.3 guy, but it's crazy what he offers this late in the game at the 31-year-old level. Now, look at the contract. This is going to tell you how the 49ers view him. 1-year deal, $1.55 million. So $1.5 million. $250,000 signing bonus, $460,000 guaranteed. So this dude got about half of his contract up front. So you cut him, you don't get any of that back. don't get any of it back. Worst case is practice squad, which is weird for a 31-year-old, but the 49ers have done that a lot at the wide receiver position. Now, you look at, usually the 49ers keep 5 to 6 wide receivers, okay? So let's go through the locks. Ayuk, 100%. Debo, 100%. Jennings, Pearsall, Cowing. Those 5 are your locks. Then there's 3 guys fighting for that last spot: Danny Gray, Ronnie Bell, Chris Conley. Those are the guys that are fighting for that last spot. And then the very back end, Trent Taylor, Tay Martin, Tariq Owens. Maybe Trent Taylor's one of those guys you put on the practice squad, but man, I don't know. Who would you rather have out there at wide receiver, Danny Gray, Ronnie Bell, or Chris Conley? For me, it's not even a competition. The only reason why I think some people would say, well, Danny Gray or Ronnie Bell is the youth upside. Maybe they could grow into something. But do the 49ers already have enough youth upside with Pearsall and Cowing, who they added after Danny Gray, after Ronnie Bell? So do you want all your backups to be huge young guys with upside, or do you want somebody you could trust? Shanahan don't trust a lot of guys. I do know that Shanahan trusts Chris Conley. And so because of that, and because of special teams, I don't know. I think Chris Conley's got a really good shot to make this roster, and that's why we got him 55. You know, he's up from where he was last year. I like this dude. He's a comfort blanket. When you see Chris Conley out there, you're not stressed. When you see number 10 back there to return a punt or out there, I get stressed. Maybe that changes with Ronnie Bell. Danny Gray, we haven't even seen. Can he stay healthy? Well, guess what? Chris Conley stayed healthy for pretty much 10 years. He had an Achilles injury back in 2015, but that was a long time ago. That was a different decade. Chris Conley just makes you feel comfortable and non-stressed. I think that there's value in that. And that's why I think he's going to make this roster as the 6th wide receiver. We'll see, though. Got to play it out in training camp and preseason games to make sure he hasn't lost a step or anything along those lines. But for us, we'll just keep counting them down.